player to player, pimp to pimp.
Oh, yeah, you know it's always that way because this is Tivis New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. The 2023 season has officially ended with that Kansas City defeat the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the 49ers. It was an interesting Super Bowl. It was kind of a weird Super Bowl. I don't know. I thought it was, even though it was a good ending, I still thought it was anticlimactic because you kind of had a feeling Patrick Mahomes was going to win. Because it's just one of those things. He's on that Brady path. He's on that Brady moment. He's right now with the likes of those quarterbacks with 3 Super Bowl wins. Like think of Terry Bradshaw and Troy Aikman, Joe Montana as well. So he's on the path to chase the GOAT, the legendary Tom Brady. But it is what it is. It was weird. Someone sent me a message and said, "Do you think the Giants could follow the Kansas City Chief model?" And I thought to myself, because anytime everyone has a dynasty or because you had the Patriot way, we're kind of right now we're kind of stuck in. We have the Bills way. Yeah, the Bills never won a Super Bowl, but whatever. But you had the Patriot way, and we did that with Joe Judge, and so now we have the Kansas City Chiefs way. I don't see it. And the Giants, these dynasties are usually built from the quarterback position. We don't have Tom Brady and we don't have Patrick Mahomes. A lot of what they build around is the people that they have sitting there at the QB1 spot. And the problem is the person that we have sitting at the QB1 spot is not someone we believe, or a lot of people believe, you could build the franchise around. And again, it's not to be mean or not to be rude to the great Daniel Jones, and it's not a moot point. But if you don't have a quarterback to build around, it really makes it slightly more difficult to kind of get into a position to win a Super Bowl. Super Bowls are they always say Super Bowls are built on defenses and the quarterback position. It used to be you won Super Bowls by running the ball and playing good D. Now it's the quarterback position really is the top thought process of all NFL organizations, that they understand that, listen, you got to win a Super Bowl within your first 5 years of drafting a quarterback. Because if you don't, you're probably going to wreck your salary cap a little bit. And those expectations of taking a quarterback in the first round and wrecking your salary cap 4 or 5 years later will put you in a position where you are mediocre. Are we seeing anything that, are we seeing a thought process here? Or are we seeing a correlation, I should say? Because the Giants are mediocre, and and a lot of it has to do with the fact that they have a mediocre quarterback. Now, you could sit there and tell me, Tim, well, Patrick Mahomes on this team would be so different. And he probably would be. Did anyone think, back when the Kansas City Chiefs traded up to get Mahomes, and there was always a speculation that the dude wanted to draft the Holmes, and we were still hanging on to Eli Manning, which is understandable. But there's always a speculation that he would have came here and did the same thing that he did or is doing in Kansas City. The problem is you don't know that. The problem is this is the biggest issue. You don't have Andy Reid also sitting here in New York. You got Brian Daboll. You don't have the ownership that they have over in Kansas City. You have the Maras. So to think that, there is a way to follow the Patriot model. Well, yeah, there is a way. You can have Mara buy the Patriots, sell them to someone else in New York, and bring that entire organization here. And then you could follow the Patriot model that way. And it's not a slight against the Giants, because the Giants at one point in time were a championship organization. You go back to the 50s. You go back into the 80s. You go back into, the early 90s. You go into the 2000s. And you hope the pendulum is going to swing back to us being the organization that we were when we were actually winning championships. I always look at the header on my YouTube page, and I see Eli Manning, you see Lawrence Taylor, you see Phil Simms. And I tried to mix in the modern players with the historic players, because you have Barkley, Thibodeau, and Andrew Thomas on the thumbnail as well, or on the header as well, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it's this. It's how you draft, it's how you coach, and it's how you cultivate talent. And we haven't done any of that. Oh my God, in an eon. And you need a leader. And the problem is,
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now: Jack and shit. Jack left town.
Jack left town and for the New York Giants. But we have to hope that 2024 Giants are going to be different. We have to hope that the season is going to progress in a way. Right now, the NFL 24. When does the NFL 24 season start? I don't even know. Let's Google it. Start date. The NFL 2024 start date. Let's see here. That's the start of the season. Start of the. I don't know. I don't know when it starts, but it starts soon because you got the draft coming up, you got free agency, you got everything else coming up soon. I'm tired. It was a long night watching that Super Bowl. So you have all this, everything's starting soon. So the Giants have to start getting in gear for free agency. You have to get gear in drafts. I love the people that are already predicting players that are going to fall to the Giants at 6. We don't know. We don't know. You don't really have any idea. There are so many questions right now for the Giants. There's a talk of the cap space. There's talk about maxing out and renegotiating Andrew Thomas's contract to save cap space, but then you're kicking more cap space down the road again. There's potential about trying to understand what we're going to do with Saquon Barkley. We have other players on the roster like Waller that we could probably end up moving on from. Will we? I don't know. But these are all the questions that Shane has going into this next season. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of questions to follow. He's got a lot of questions. Over the last 30 years, the Giants have made the playoffs, 10 times? Think about that. Over 30. I believe that's the case. I believe it's over the last 30 years, the Giants have made the playoffs 10 times. That means they've only made the playoffs a third of the time. There's got to be a solution. There's got to be an understanding. There's got to be a way to figure out how to bring the Giants' trajectory back into a winning philosophy and have it work as a consistent philosophy. Not one-off seasons of going to the playoffs and then having another 5 years of not. Like I said, 2011, guys. The 2011 season, everyone knows this is our last Super Bowl season, was our last championship. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with a team that's in the Mecca. There's something wrong with the organization that doesn't understand how to build a consistent winner. And I think building a consistent winner is going to be the philosophy the Giants are going to have to follow. And if they can figure that out somehow, I don't know how, but if they can figure that out somehow, that's where we got to turn the corner. That's where we got to kind of figure out how we can do this. And we all thought that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll were going to be the guys. We had all hoped. Hell, I had the same hope. You hope and I'll hurry. You try and I'll plan. Let's do what's necessary because even a miracle needs a hand. And it's almost like we've reached that point. Someone said to me, we are the Detroit Lions. And I was like, yikes. I was like, well, wait a minute. The Detroit Lions have been good the last couple of years. And they're like, no. We are the Detroit Lions after Scott Mitchell and Barry Sanders all left. I was like, hell, I remember Chuck Long. I remember when Rodney Peete was a Detroit Lion. I remember Joey Harrington. And then I think of the lineage and I think of the timeline in reference to all the bad players the Detroit Lions had, all the bad quarterbacks the Detroit Lions had. The fact that they stuck with Joey Harrington for I have no clue why for such an extended period of time. Not that Joey Harrington was a bad quarterback, but he had a 4-year run in Detroit, and you kind of had a feeling after that second year he just wasn't the guy. And then he comes out with a 6-10 season where 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and then the wheels fall off the bus. It's funny. It's this interesting parallel. that if you go to the 2004 Detroit Lions, they were only 6-10. But Joey Harrington threw for 3,000 yards and 19 touchdowns. Sound a little familiar? And I remember because then they kind of thought, well, we might have a quarterback here. We might have a quarterback here. And then the next season, the wheels fall off the bus again, and he ends up in Miami and then Atlanta and then out of the football, then out of the National Football League. It's finding a model, and it's finding a model of consistency. That's what the Giants did that's what the Giants did after 84 through like 90. And then they had a couple seasons in 90, and they kind of did the same thing going back into the early 2000s because you had that run between 2007 2011 as well. But sitting there and hoping and sitting there and thinking that you could build the Kansas City Chiefs model or the Buffalo Bills model in New York, it's just not going to work. You have to build your own legacy. And I think that's what the Giants need to focus on. They need to get back to building their own legacy, building their own identity, and not worrying about catching up with the Joneses or catching up with the Mahomeses. They have to just build their own identity. For those that do not know, you need to go out and check out NewYorkGiantsLive.com. It's a place where you can watch all of our live streams, catch all the podcasts, catch all of the YouTube videos as well. And now we have daily articles about the New York Giants, the majority of them written by yours truly. So make sure you check that out. It's NewYorkGiantsLive.com. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff heading up that way on that site over the next 3 months. So make sure you stay tuned. There are going to be different changes to it every day. All Giant related as first and related, of course. And as always, this is Tim, this is New York Giants Straight Talk. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why. That'd be awesome.